Imagine this. Right now, inside your pocket, on a cheap, ordinary flash drive, lies $4.5 billion. You are one of the wealthiest human beings on the face of the earth. Your net worth is larger than the entire annual budget of some countries. But there is a catch. You cannot buy yourself a single cup of coffee at a Manhattan Starbucks. You cannot lease an apartment under your own name. You cannot take a single breath without a red pixel flashing instantly at the IRS cybercrime headquarters in Washington. For the past 3 years, the FBI has been invisibly living right outside your front door. Your life is a luxurious hell. You are trapped inside a golden cage, and your billions are not a passport to the high life. They are a ticking bomb with a federal fuse. A bomb that is slowly, but inevitably, burning down toward a mandatory, lifelong federal prison sentence. This is not the script of a new Hollywood thriller on Netflix. This is the real, heavily documented story of Ilya Lichtenstein and his eccentric wife, Heather Morgan. The most absurd, massive, and psychologically terrifying heist in the history of the United States. They pulled off the impossible. They breached Wall Street's financial system and snatched what belonged to the most powerful elites on Earth. But they missed the most critical lesson. Stealing billions is the easiest part of the job. The real nightmare begins when you actually try to spend that money. Right now, we are going deep inside the dark underbelly of the digital Wild West to unmask the ultimate phantoms of the modern financial system. Take a good look at this woman. She calls herself Razzlekhan. She records shockingly cringe-worthy rap videos right in front of the New York Stock Exchange, jumps around in ridiculous, flashy outfits, hosts a vlog about mental health, and writes professional articles for Forbes advising major corporations on how to protect their data from cyber threats. Right next to her is her husband, Ilya. A quiet, pale, completely unnoticeable guy with the permanent, exhausted stare of a low-level corporate programmer. To the rest of Brooklyn and Manhattan, they were just an eccentric couple of tech freaks that everyone openly mocked on social media. Quirky startup founders trying to chase internet clout. But while internet users were rolling their eyes scrolling through their TikTok feed, the U.S. Department of Justice and top cyber analysts at the Pentagon were literally tearing their hair out. This exact couple, living in a modest rented apartment, was holding the entire global cryptocurrency industry hostage. In August 2016, Ilya Lichtenstein discovered a critical vulnerability in the security infrastructure of Bitfinex, one of the world's largest crypto exchanges. This wasn't a high-tech espionage hack using government-grade cyber weapons. Ilya simply found an open window left in the exchange's code architecture. In just a matter of hours, nearly 120,000 bitcoins vanished into thin air through that very window. At the time, this massive mountain of digital coins was worth about $70 million. A huge chunk of cash, but not enough to collapse the global economy. The couple went dark. They didn't flee the United States. They stayed right in New York, continuing to post their daily blogs. And that's when the one thing Ilya could never predict actually happened. The great crypto bull run began. Year after year, the price of Bitcoin shattered the stratosphere. And those exact $70 million sitting quietly in their encrypted wallet exploded into $1 billion, then $2.5 billion, and finally, a staggering $4.5 billion. The couple woke up as the shadow kings of Wall Street. They became multi-billionaires right under the government's nose without ever leaving their bedroom. And then, they faced the most terrifying question in the life of any American criminal. How do you legitimize this money in a country where financial enforcement sees right through you? America is the absolute worst place on earth to hold dirty money. While Hollywood movies always show the mob laundering cash through local car washes, that trick is completely useless in the digital reality of the 21st century. Enter the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. This is an agency possessing such immense power that it managed to lock away Al Capone himself when even the FBI was completely powerless. The IRS does not care where your money came from. They only care about why you haven't paid taxes on it. Ilya Lichtenstein engineered a monumental multi-layered strategy to bypass interbank anti-money laundering controls. To trick the brutal compliance systems of American banks, they launched a mechanism known in the criminal underworld as smurfing, or microstructuring. Automated scripts written by Ilya began breaking down the massive multi-billion-dollar balance into thousands of tiny microscopic streams. Funds were routed in transactions strictly under $10,000. Why exactly 10,000? Because that is the critical threshold for FinCEN in the United States. Any transaction above that number automatically triggers a bank's security system and sends a suspicious activity report directly to federal regulators. The couple opened dozens of shell companies across the United States, Germany, and even Ukraine. They lied to American bankers, claiming their startups were involved in tech development, logistics, and digital marketing. The cash flowed into these startup accounts disguised as legitimate payments for software licenses or business consulting. And at first, the system believed them. Bank managers at top-tier financial institutions in New York smiled and shook their hands, signing off on documentation and approving multi-million-dollar transactions. Using these cleansed streams of money, Heather and Ilya began buying physical gold bars in shadow pawn shops, purchasing non-fungible tokens, and, most absurdly, exchanging crypto for Uber, Walmart, and luxury hotel gift cards. Imagine this: multi-billionaires walking into a local grocery store with stacks of gift cards to buy basic food, completely terrified to use a personal credit card. Their paranoia grew heavier with each passing day. The banking compliance system was temporarily blinded, but deep within the U.S. intelligence agencies, a new algorithm was already being forged to shatter their illusion of safety. The biggest myth that millions of people around the world still blindly believe sounds like this: cryptocurrency is completely anonymous. The government can never find out who owns a wallet. The IRS Cybercrime Unit and the U.S. Secret Service staged a public execution of this exact myth on global television. Federal agents didn't waste time hunting for hackers by their real names. They understood that anyone could be sitting behind that screen. Instead, they utilized cutting-edge blockchain analytics software, Chainalysis. The blockchain is entirely transparent. It remembers every single transaction executed since the very moment the network was created. Agents began unraveling the web from the absolute end of the chain, starting with those small, legitimized amounts the couple was pulling out into the physical world. Ilya Lichtenstein truly believed he was smarter than the system. He made a move that seemed brilliant to him. He routed a portion of the stolen Bitcoin into the accounts of Alphabay, the largest darknet marketplace at the time. The goal was to mix the dirty Bitcoin with millions of transactions from arms dealers and illicit substance traffickers, completely wiping out the digital paper trail. But Ilya was missing the most critical piece of the puzzle. At that exact moment, the FBI had already secretly infiltrated and completely controlled Alphabay's servers. The agents didn't move in for the arrest immediately. They used a classic tactic of Western law enforcement. They let the couple believe they were 100% untouchable. They set up physical surveillance teams on Manhattan. Their phones, laptops, and smart TVs were wiretapped 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The feds were just waiting for one thing: the exact moment Ilya would make a technical error under the crushing weight of his own paranoia. And that error was finally made. To ensure rapid access to his crypto wallets, Ilya uploaded an encrypted backup file containing the private keys to all $4.5 billion directly into his personal iCloud storage. He tied his master criminal archive to an official American Apple account, registered under his real name. It took federal agencies just a few hours to secure a federal search warrant. walk into Apple's headquarters and download a backup copy of his cloud data. Do you know the name of the file that held the keys to the greatest cyber fortune in criminal history? A simple, unencrypted text file disguised as a routine grocery list. The FBI agents didn't even have to use aggressive interrogation tactics or break the hacker down. All they had to do was press 2 keys on a keyboard, Control+C and Control+V. Early morning in New York City. The February fog hasn't even cleared over Manhattan.
FBI, open up!
When the heavy tactical boots of a U.S. Secret Service raid team blow the oak door of Heather and Ilya's apartment right off its hinges. Everything happened in a flash. Heather frantically tried to hide their pet cat under the bed. It was later revealed that a hardware crypto wallet containing a portion of the access codes was stitched directly into the animal's collar. But it was already far too late. The outcome of that operation sent shockwaves through the global financial community, an instant arrest, and the asset forfeiture of $3.6 billion all at once. The absolute, officially registered record in the history of the United States Department of Justice. Ilya received a heavy federal prison sentence, and Heather followed right behind him, despite all her millions, elite connections, and articles in Forbes. The banks that spent years turning a blind eye to the couple's bizarre transactions just to collect lucrative processing fees were subjected to brutal federal audits, hit with catastrophic multi-billion-dollar fines, and stripped of their licenses forever. This story isn't just a breakdown of a cyber hack. It is a harsh, sobering wake-up call to anyone who still believes you can build long-term capital in Western markets using gray schemes, compliance workarounds, or criminal manipulation. The era of the financial Wild West in the US and Europe is officially and permanently dead. The modern banking system and state regulators see your every transaction, your every shell company, and your every hidden cent. If you try to play in the dark within Western jurisdictions, the system won't just hit you with a fine. It will completely erase your reputation, lock down your assets, and destroy your future. The only viable way to scale money, preserve capital, and build an international business today is through absolute crystal clear legality, flawless compliance, and a profound understanding of global financial monitoring laws.